Yes, good that you're watching to the video on demand of the weekly stream. That is going to be weekly again from now on. Because, yes, of course, um, I was on a holiday. So that's why we did not do the stream for some time. Good to see some people already joining. Appreciate you. Let's see, of course, if the double, triple check if we're actually live here in this laid back Monday stream where I already have some fun things planned. So it's gonna be a fun one. I'm sure of that. How have you guys been? Let me know. We got, of course, like every week, I wanna go over some of the biggest gaming news from the week before or that has been breaking like today. And kind of go a bit more in depth on it, share my thoughts, and overall things that I'm noticing that I think are worth discussing. Hey, Kino and Sky, good to see you as well. Go get a Resvi, G-Day, JD, I should say, damn. So I had my holiday or my birthday party this weekend. So if I'm a bit slow still, you know why. You know why. But should not hold back the fun. So I have a couple of fun discussions that we can go over. Obviously, these will also be videos that we will be posting on this channel that you're watching right here. User unknown, good to see you as well. And say miso. Hope I pronounced that right. Thanks, Brock. Yes, I turned 30 plus this past week. So yeah, these will be like videos later on. We'll of course be inserting your comments as well. Oh, I forgot to insert the Sunday comments. We should do that as well. That's of course kind of the idea, to have the Sunday video. You make a comment there, and then I can insert it here in the stream. So I won't be doing that today, but we still have a lot of interesting things to discuss. And of course, if you, while watching, are like, hey, that's interesting, I will of course shout it out and insert it in the topics. So I'm gonna let you guys decide what we were going to talk about first. I have an idea about, or actually there are a lot of rumors now saying that more Xbox games, or basically all Xbox games, are coming to PS5. It's like a pretty interesting rumor. I think there's a lot interesting things that we can discuss there. We got another like kind of update on GTA 6. Of course, will we still see a trailer this year? And we got like a Bloomberg report talking about publishers being kind of afraid of the release, etc., etc. I want to like give a big update on 2025 and how enormous that is going to be. We even like more games announced for that year. So I think it will be fun to kind of dive into that. And then we got Naughty Dog's new game. I think it will be fun too. I want to hear your thoughts as well. And I also want to share my thoughts, my more in-depth thoughts. And I want to kind of course, I like to look at the business side of things. Like, the reactions have been mixed. I think that's fair to say. So I want to kind of see, do we think that will impact things? Like, what is the current stance of Naughty Dog? Like, what, is this approach going to work, or does it not matter for them? I think that will be kind of interesting to go over as well. Hey, Reddit Venom and Rumoto Nolo, thanks for joining here. Happy late birthday, thanks Nick, appreciate you. We're getting close to Shadows, yes, user not known. We're 2 months, less than 2 months away now, which is crazy, and I'm sure there will be a ton of fun stuff between now and launch to cover the game, obviously. So I'm very excited for that. I called it the Naughty Dog reveal. I called it on the Naughty Dog reveal. Just saying. What do you mean, Sprite? That you were like, you knew what the game was gonna be? Hey, Pops Game. Good to see you as well. WB rumors as unknown, probably about the Xbox stuff. Yeah, it's I think it was inevitable, but it's nice. It's good for sure, and it's still like people on Xbox still have Game Pass, so they still have the benefit of having to only pay for a $20 subscription in the month that they want to play the game that comes out. So I don't think it's bad for everyone. Uh, any negativity is bad. First impressions are so important. Yeah, I totally agree. Oh no, lol says Sprite that they would reveal their new IP. Yeah, 100%. I mean, talked about it here as well. So it was kind of up in the air. It was possible for sure. We had some rumblings. Hey Yeet, good to see you. What's good? Well, again, like I said, I'm still a bit slow today after a fun weekend, but should not hurt the stream or anything. What do they say at the Ask Everything Assassin's Creed Shadows? Well, we will be discussing that on Wednesday during the stream with Fragnard, and I will also be, of course, having multiple videos going more in depth on that information. So stay tuned. There will at least be one Shadows video on the main channel this week. And yeah, we have collected all the information, and I just want to like give it proper time and talk a bit more about what it means instead of just making a video where I read out loud all the info. I think, yeah, going a bit more in depth on it is way more fun. Witcher was a cool surprise for sure. Nick asked if I played the new Wukong update. Yeah, actually I did, and we are going to cover it. So look forward to that very soon. But Nick, did you already like finish some of the challenges? I want to get like the challenges done that give you like the new weapons and the new headpiece. I got to like the final bosses for them, and then I just don't have any mana left. So you have to be really smart about how you approach it. I think it's a lot of fun. So yeah, we will be covering that, of course. Yeet says, I heard Suicide Squad killed the Justice League did so bad that they shut down the servers. Is that true? I mean, yeah, it did very bad. It was a huge flop. But they actually had an offline mode added, and they will just stop supporting the game in terms of new content in January, which was always the plan. Like they had the 4 seasons, and then yeah, they were gonna pull the plug. But it's not that they are shutting down the servers. Actually, the servers are gonna stay online. So probably the game will come to Game Pass or PS Plus at some point, and they can still play co-op, which is nice. Dope. Yeah, I did only a little though. Yeah. I still need to play. Like I want to like cover the new weapons and stuff as well, but that means that I will have to finish all these challenges. So I'm kind of debating: do we make like the update first and then do the sort of weapons and stuff? We will have to kind of see. They answered my question about the black and white filter. Oh, Jet Laner, did you ask it? Yeah, it was crazy that you cannot turn that off. That's crazy. No Wonder Woman info, cause for concern. Yeah, I mean, we heard actually that the game was like when they announced it in 2021. It like they already started it, but it was still very early. So now we're 3 years later. They are like with how long games take nowadays. It's probably that it will still take another 2 years before we reach the finish line, which kind of crazy because Shadow of War came out in 2017. So what did they do from they had some DLC for Shadow of War, but 2017 till like 2021 when they started working on Wonder Woman. I don't know, man. I mean, the same happened with Warner Montreal, who did Batman Arkham Origins, and then what felt like 10 years later or like 9 years later, they finally launched a new game, Gotham Knights. So a lot of weird things happened at Warner Bros. Games, and I'm not sure if they're going to get it together. And of course, it's worth noting as well that with the Wonder Woman people, the Cliffhanger Games has been like that's basically a lot of people from Monolith Productions that are that just basically moved to a new studio. So you could also argue like who are still left to make Wonder Woman that worked on a Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War that we of course love. Okay, let's move on to the first topic. Let's see. I'm gonna start with the Naughty Dog game. I think we we kind of like touched on it already. We're gonna start it here. Of course, if you have any input, drop it, and I might include it as well here in the stream. And yeah, it's gonna be like about. I got some like extra info on it as well that we can like kind of talk about. Of course, we're gonna look at the trailer again, and I want to hear your overall feeling about it, because let's save it for the topic. So. Let's move on where we're over here. Whoop. And let's go. Naughty Dog announced their new game. And it's kind of wild that a studio of this caliber finally announces what they've been working on since 2020 after The Last of Us Part 2. And it's kind of mixed. Like, it's not... This should be... Like, remember when The Last of Us Part 2 was revealed, right? People were going crazy at the PlayStation experience. I'm actually like, I kind of want to go back to that. Let's see if I can like, let me like pull that up here. The Last of Us Part 2 reveal PlayStation experience. With the crowd. Okay, this is such a cool moment. Okay. People were going crazy, man. And at one point you saw like the fireflies. And then at one point... Yeah. Like, this was crazy. And then, of course, Ellie. It's so sad that we have so many digital shows right now where you just don't get the crowd reaction like this, right?
Wow.
And of course, I mean, of course, this is a sequel to one of the best games ever made. People are gonna go crazy. My point is that I'm not seeing the same sort of hype for this game. And it's new. Of course, I get it. But still, like, you do... I really think if you were to ask someone before this reveal, like, what is the reaction going to be for a new Naughty Dog IP, people would probably lose crazy or go crazy. I saw some reactions that saying that the freaking like anime that she's watching, Jordan, who's the main character here, looks cooler. I am really of the mind that I don't care what the character looks like. If they're gonna give us like a great story, I'm all for that. And obviously it looks insane. We just have not seen a lot, but I do think that the first impression is very important. And while I, for one, like, I did not expect this, like, the setting to be, I expected maybe something more unique in a way where we've just been bombarded with the sort of Guardians of the Galaxy like space thing, right? And the jacket, it's Star-Lord's jacket. Like, there's no way around it. We even had like Kay Vess recently in Star Wars Outlaws, who has a similar jacket. You can even unlock this, like the outlaw jacket that you get from the main story. Looks basically like this. And to be fair, like, The Last of Us, if you look at it from a sort of helicopter view, it's basically zombies. They just look cooler. And the story, like, it's way more about the two characters in this maybe familiar world. And that's what I think they can still very much deliver on with this. We just don't know a lot. We do have some information. So again, the character we're looking at here. Let's see. Is a Jordan A. Moon, and yeah, she's a dangerous bounty hunter stranded on this planet, Semperia, and basically in this planet, like, the communication has been, like, halted with the outside universe. It went dark for hundreds of years, so now she tries to escape this, basically. She's like, how do I get off this planet? And nobody who ever, like, went to this planet has ever been heard of again. So there's already some mystery going on. And yeah, they once again say, even though we have not really seen that here yet, it will be another emotional, character-driven journey. But of course, the big sort of change here is what we kind of see here at the end, is that it will be an action-adventure game. So it's way more focused on melee combat. She still has her gun, though, but it feels more like a sort of second option. It's sort of, okay, I'm gonna shoot enemy. It's probably not gonna do a lot of damage, but you can still kind of DMC style with your gun deal some proper damage to the enemy, and then boom. This is potentially gameplay. At least that's what the New York Times said, who interviewed, I think, Neil Druckmann about this. And a cool thing that people have noticed is that it seems like the blade has kind of sound waves. So it might be that, like, the music that has some sort of impact on the gameplay, maybe Hi-Fi Rush style, where, yeah, it's kind of like, I love that sort of part, right, where there seem to be a lot of tiny details that they just have not touched on yet that might prove to be very crucial to the overall game. But also, looking at this enemy, it's nothing crazy. I think the clicker designs are, for example, way more interesting. We've seen this enemy in my experience in many of the Souls-like games, in a way, like, maybe not the robot version, but you get what I mean, right? I'm not, like, looking at this enemy being like, whoa, that looks insane. But yeah, we have to just know, we have to, like, see more. But I think I have not, like, really looked at any breakdowns or anything, but this shows you that there's already a lot going on in this world. Obviously, yeah, she had some people here. We see the famous actors, of course, that will be in this game as well. So yeah, it seems like I'm sure that if you go crazy on this, you will find a lot of kind of tidbits and hints at what this all might mean. But yeah, it's I think an interesting. It's on one hand an interesting concept. I just wish it was a little less. Yeah, I mean, people have said Concord, of course. Like, having Concord before this is kind of wild. That Sony at one point had this in development and Concord at the same time. Obviously, they're, like, different types of games, but still, I find that interesting. How did you greenlight both games? Obviously, they came into Concord later on, but yeah, the plan was to have Concord be this multimedia sort of experience that, I mean, it has a Secret Levels episode on Amazon. They wanted to build that universe, like, a lot. And of course, Naughty Dog, now with the Last of Us HBO show, I mean, Sony now, when they greenlight a project, they're not only thinking about the game anymore, they're thinking, okay, but what does this look like 5 years after launch? Can we get an HBO show going or whatever? I mean, I feel that you don't need to make a TV show or a cross-media with everything you do. But yeah, they are spending hundreds of millions of dollars on this. And then, yeah, getting more profit thanks to an HBO show. And maybe then people will check out PlayStation that would otherwise never have what we are seeing with The Last of Us. I mean, it does all make business sense. But it's just kind of weird to me that they had, at one point, the plan to have Concord be this huge thing and this. Wow, there's a lot of overlap here. So yeah, let's see what... I'm curious to hear your take on this as well. Imagine if the weapon's a broken piano. I think it's more like sound waves, because it kind of like moves around. But yeah, there is something going on with that, and the music, of course, like being a big part of the experience when she's like, okay, I'm gonna play a CD here and get going. But it's just a bit too much. Like, why do we need that 80s like space vibe over like everywhere, right? Very music focused. I would watch a movie in this case. This would be a better movie with a bigger budget. I mean, we don't know, obviously, what the game is. Like, of course, it could be a movie or... I mean, The Last of Us could have been a movie, too. I'm happy they made it a TV show to kind of expand on the world. But, I mean, it is hard to tell. I'm just saying that, obviously, they have bigger plans for this if it succeeds. I'm so hyped for this game, says Andrew. I totally get it. Like, I am mostly hyped because it's Naughty Dog, and maybe not because what I'm seeing here is really appealing. I totally think that they are going to nail this. And it is exciting that, I mean, that's what they kind of wanted after The Last of Us and Uncharted being very, very linear and narrative driven. They wanted kind of this, okay, a lot of like the bigger games right now, the Elden Ring, the Zeldas, they are really gameplay focused, and they're doing some very interesting things with gameplay mechanics and exploration. We are already on top of our game with the cutscenes. Like, Naughty Dog is the best. And let's see if we can like combine that, because an Elden Ring and a Zelda is kind of lacking that narrative, that story with the huge impactful emotional scenes. And what if they include that like they're doing here, but with kind of gameplay that hopefully reaches that interesting Elden Ring level in the way where like they also want TikToks, or maybe this sounds kind of crazy, but they want like to have stories be more than, whoa, this happened in the game, which was like scripted. They want more things where something happens in your game that is unique to you. So it creates this moment that is exclusive to you, and then you go tell people, whoa, this happened when I went there. That's kind of what I'm like getting from Neil Druckmann's recent interviews. Even the music did not excite you? It totally did, but it's more like I've watched the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's the same. It's the, okay, let's do this like old school, like very not upbeat song, and we're gonna fly away. I don't know. It's like, I've seen this before. It's not that I'm getting a vibe. Like, I'm not like intrigued by the setting and what they are. Like, I really think there's going to be way more to this setting. I mean, we see a lot of product placement, which, of course, like we see Sony here. We have the Porsche ship. I totally think there's going to be more. Like, there are reasons for that, I think. So I'm sure that there will be like, there's way more than meets the eye. It's just that the whole premise here is not unique enough for me to be like, oh, I can't wait to explore this world. I'm just way more excited because I love Naughty Dog, and I'm excited that they're going to focus more on gameplay this time. Because I really think that Last of Us, like doing the New Game Plus mode, finally having that gun at the start and just putting that on a high difficulty, and even like Uncharted 3, I love like playing that game on a higher difficulty because you really had to think of each encounter in a, how am I gonna kill this enemy? I love that, and it's just cool that they already had those sort of like interesting, they really thought of every encounter obviously, but if you just play through that game on like the normal difficulty, or if you just like care only about the story, you don't really notice it because it's not necessary to complete that game. And I think that if they can use those interesting elements and maybe put like an optional boss on a planet or something that really tests your skill, I think that's gonna be very exciting. Yeah, like having more optional content that can kind of push you to play different instead of this linear game where every player is going to see the same thing, if that makes sense. The tone of this is very different than Guardians, of course, but it's like you get what I mean, right? Like it was clearly an inspiration. It's not going to be 100% the same. that's totally that would be crazy. But it's not like a unique thing. But again, I said it like as well with Naughty Dog, and like The Last of Us is not really unique either. But they gave their interesting twist to it, and I'm sure they will do that here as well. I'm gonna like going onto a planet, hunt for a bounty. I think that is awesome. Threat level 7. Again, I think there's going to be a lot of like, what if you have multiple bounties and you can choose the order, like something like that. I think they're going to do way more player freedom this time, and that in particular excites me. But if we, for example, look here to the dislikes here, I turned them back on again, and also on their on their like official YouTube channel, trailer is at 1.1, 1.6 for a new IP. That's of course pretty big, but to be fair, I don't think that's like really amazing. Obviously, other people have uploaded the trailer too, but and of course, I'm like not saying, I don't want to like give any energy and stuff to some of the people that are just hating on everything. I'm totally not a fan of that. Like, it's kind of wild that you love games and are then hating on the thing on the things. Like, obviously a dislike is a way to communicate what you want and what you don't want. I get that, but it's mostly for weird reasons. Again, we just don't know how this plays. But I still think that if you are Sony right now and you are spending like $300 million probably on this game, then this is not the reaction you want. It has to be unanimously like excited. And the fact that we are having a conversation about a new Naughty Dog IP where people are like, I don't know, it's not for me, I'm gonna skip it. That's not great for what should be the next 20 million seller. Now I want to like look at The Last of Us Part 2 and the sales there, because I do think kind of what happened with that game is very interesting, because it did hurt them a bit. So the game sold very well in 3 days, 4 million, and we actually have this sales analysis from Super Prentendo saying that like the scriptwriter did an interview with Neil Druckmann and Haley Gross about Last of Us Part 2, and at the 11-minute mark, Neil Druckmann said that the game was already profitable from day one. So the 4 million was enough to have the game be profitable, which is kind of wild, actually, because we learned, for example, that a Spider-Man had to sell 7.5 to break even. So obviously Sony owns the IP, doesn't have to share anything with Disney, and we know Spider-Man 2 was like $300 million, which is wild. And this game cost less to make. Still though, it sold like they were instantly profitable. But I do think if you go, for example, here to the 30 best-selling PlayStation published games of all time, this was from the Insomniac League, we see The Last was remastered at 5 here for PS4. It sold 18 million units. And then we have The Last of Us 1, which was over here 21, also sold 8. Sold 8.4. So basically combined, now some people of course double dipped. 18, like it's almost like 27 million units sold of The Last of Us. Or yeah, 26 we should say. 26 plus. That is wild for one game. But The Last of Us Part 2 is at 10 million. So there's a huge drop off from the first game to the second game. If you, for example, look at God of War Ragnarok, 15 million. And it came out 2 years, 2022. Came out 2 years after The Last of Us Part 2. Already at 15 million. It will probably be, when all is said and done, be around the first game. So, like, it is interesting, right? That also they, of course, had The Last of Us Part 2 remastered. They launched that in January. And yeah, it's very low. Now, obviously, you could already play The Last of Us Part 2 from PS4 to PS5. So yeah, this was really not needed. For like, it was really for new people to have PS5 on the box, etc. But that is interesting. That I do think that's pretty interesting, and it kind of shows you that even a Naughty Dog is not like they're not like untouchable. And if The Last of Us Part 2, the game that again we had that insane reaction to that we talked about earlier, sell 10 million in, I don't know, 5 years, right? Almost 5 years. It's like 4.5 years. Then I'm like kind of curious what their initial, like what do they think this game is gonna do? Because you could argue, I don't think this is gonna sell more than The Last of Us Part 2, unless it's like insanely good. So I think, while I totally think that it will be profitable, obviously, I am kind of, why I want to leave this, I want to throw it to you, is we are kind of reaching this point where, sure, I want the developers basically to make the game they want to make, but the reality is that this game costs a ton of money, and it just needs more than it just needs to sell a significant amount to have it be worth it that Naughty Dog spent probably 7 years on this when all is said and done. I think this game is going to come out 2026 and at the earliest 2027 probably. So I think that's kind of interesting. And then having already a kind of false start with a huge dislike ratio. Again, a lot of people were probably never gonna play this anyways. They're just angry because they're angry. Still think though this should have been like a big win. This should have been like a huge win for them. It's sadly not. So that's where I want to kind of leave it. I think it's just an interesting discussion, right? I really think if you would have asked anyone a week ago, a week before the Game Awards, yo, if Naughty Dog's new IP is gonna be announced there, the reception is probably gonna be through the roof, right? It's sadly not. You're insane if you think this makes money, says Corey. Again, that's crazy that people are saying that. I mean, that's crazy to say about a Naughty Dog next game. Like, Naughty Dog is the crown jewel from Sony. Like, it's gonna make money. It's gonna be profitable. I'm sure of it. But I do think it is interesting. Like, at one point, I do think the developers, or again, it's just that hard push and pull where you are making a game for people, like you're making a product for people to buy, but it's also art. And you also want to make what you want. But I do think right now maybe things are a bit like off balanced, where maybe they should have been like, do people actually want this? This is a teaser trailer, more will be revealed. Sure, but the teaser trailer for The Last of Us Part 2, everyone was like insanely hyped. The teaser trailer for Ghost of Yotei, everyone was insanely hyped. The teaser trailer for Horizon Zero Dawn, everyone was insanely hyped. Right? That's kind of my point. It's like, if the next game from Sony Santa Monica will be revealed, right now we will all be like, sure, the makers from God of War, they're gonna do a new IP. It's gonna be insanely huge. But yeah, we thought that about Naughty Dog as well, and here we are. I mean, I'm not saying the game is gonna be bad. I think it's gonna be amazing, because they're Naughty Dog. The Lost of Us Part 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. It's amazing. But I don't think this is the reaction they wanted. Guardians of the Galaxy was a good game, but nobody played it. That's another good point, like Kino and Sky, where we had a game like this already. I do think Guardians is, of course, an interesting situation, because that was more, of course, and that was also more the Avengers situation, right? The, like, oh, it's a new Marvel game from Square Enix. They did Avengers. I'm not gonna play this. Yeah, I think you're right, Rich Tim Evans. Yeah, it's going to make a profit, but to see this much push against Naughty Dog is insane. It shows how far things have come. Yeah, I think you're nailing the. You're nailing it. You're nailing it. But you can apply the logic to any game these days. Every game is a hate tale. Sure, but it's like it's about fine. It's about like there are, of course, like the Ghost of Yote situation. People were like, "Oh, it's a girl main character. I want a Jin." There were people like that, but the like if we go to that trailer right now, that's still like insanely upvoted, right? And I know the freaking here, that's insane. I know the YouTube dislike and like ratio is not everything, but it still shows you like this is like Call of Duty Infinite Warfare levels. That did not help the game. This is, I mean, Concord had, I think, more dislikes. But it's not helping. We know how that game did. We just have seen many games that had kind of this start where people were like, I don't want this. And then they come out and they don't sell. So I'm just kind of looking at it. Are we having an issue here? Or is it just nothing? And when we finally see gameplay, people are like, oh, this is actually amazing. I hope that that's the case, and I think it probably will be. But yeah, it's an interesting start for a Naughty Dog IP, I think. I mean, I know why it's being downvoted. I know as well, but I still think 188,000 is insane. For that, like, that's an army of people. That's an insane amount. And I don't, it's crazy. That dislike extension is not correct. Okay, really? Is it like less? Okay, thanks everyone for noting. It does. So is there a way actually to see it? Either way, that is the discussion on this game. I want to end on a positive note though. Like again, I love Naughty Dog. I think them doing more melee combat is gonna be amazing. I love Red. This looks great. No, but like I don't care who the character is. I just want like an interesting story, and I know many people are kind of the same. But I still get that people were like, okay, this setting, it's not that unique. We've kind of been there, done that. And I wish Naughty Dog was making something else. I totally get that too. But I overall think that we should not, like, reach a conclusion this fast. And I overall still think that this should have been like an easy win for Sony. And it's not. I think that's clear. There's a lot of divide about this. Wow. If even like Naughty Dog is not making a shoe-in successful game, that's not good. That's not good. The Lost of Us Part 2 sold more than 10 million units. I know, Mark. We talked about that. But that was in 5 years. The Last of Us 1 sold 26. And God of War Ragnarok that came out way later sold 15. And I would have put like The Last of Us and God of War on the same level, but God of War is way more popular. And my point is, if The Last of Us Part 2 took 10 years or 5 years, 4.5 years to sell 10 million, what is this game gonna do? It's gonna do less than The Last of Us Part 2, right? So. Sorry, just Simi. I'm not really voting the. I'm not really seeing the chat, but thanks, Brock, for going in there. Hope everything is all right there. It only shows the dislikes from people who use the extension. That would not be possible, but because I don't think there are 188,000 people using the extension and disliking it. That would mean that there are way more dislikes. So I don't think that's true. But I do believe that it might not be correct. The 10 million figure is only for 2 years of tracking. I don't think that's true. That 10 million is from December 2023. So it's yeah. Okay, so it's not like in 4.5 years, it's like in 3.5 years. And these games sell the most in the first 2 years anyway, so 10 million, that's still not a lot. I mean, it's still a lot, but... Does it say in the picture? Oh, because it has the date, as of. Ah. You're right, let me see. Oh yeah, I see that. That's still... In 2 years, that's still kind of crazy. Before the series. Okay, Mark, you're making some great points. I mean, let's not compare it to Wukong, of course. How many did Lost Legacy sell? I think like 5, not a lot. It's not in the top 25. Yeah, that's a good one, Hidden Creed. I can like test the dislike ratio myself. That's totally true. Okay, thanks for noting all. Let's go to this one, which I think is gonna be interesting. Whoop. Whoop. Oh. Oh. Okay, let's move on to this. What we all thought was gonna happen seems to be here, maybe sooner than we anticipated. Xbox will no longer have permanent console exclusives going forward, according to Jess Gordon. He's a reporter at Windows Central, has a pretty great track record, tier 2 here. Obviously, still take it with a grain of salt, but this has of course been happening for a long time. Like here, basically he says it on Twitter as well. It's because they don't want to just mandate it on the teams that aren't set up yet for multi... Yeah, they're all coming to PlayStation over time. But the era of having permanent console exclusives is over. That's basically what he's saying here. And again, we've been slowly seeing that already. Most recently, at the Game Awards, we saw Outer Worlds 2 again. And this is what it looked like when it was announced. And now it looks like this. Of course, PS5 is added there. Obsidian, like launching 2 big games in 1 year, still crazy. Of course, Avowed is dropping in February. That is not coming to PS5 day 1 at least, but might, of course, come later. But yeah, I do think for this title it makes sense. Like, you had the first one on PS5. Why not get people the sequel that they probably want? I still think this reveal is like one of the craziest moments of the year. Where they, of course, at the Game Awards are like, hey, we have an announcement. Indiana Jones is coming December 6th, 9th. And then they were like...
There you have it. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming out this December for Xbox, Game Pass, and PC. But there is one more thing that Machine Games and Bethesda wanted to share with you about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Like, having this much, like... focus on it, this much of a spotlight, to basically say, yo, the game is not an exclusive anymore. That's still crazy to me. So yeah, they're saying you don't have to buy an Xbox. You can just wait till spring 2025. It's probably going to be April to play this game on the console you probably already have, or the console that has more exclusives that you maybe want to play. So they basically shoot themselves a bit in the foot. I think it's still wild. Like, they could have just announced it in February. Indiana Jones, we got all the sales on Xbox and PC. We're bringing it to PlayStation. That would have been fine too. Maybe it was Disney being like, yo, we want this announced. But I thought this moment was crazy. Putting so much focus on it. But yeah, it makes sense, right, that they are doing this in a way. Because they, of course, tested earlier this year with Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush. They did, what was it? The Pentiment. And they also brought over Grounded, of course. And Sea of Thieves sold 1 million copies on PS5. It was the best-selling, or like the most downloaded, basically the best-selling game on PS5 in May, the month it came out. That's crazy. This game came out in 2018. And it sold 1 million. It was the best-selling game on PlayStation 5 in May. So yeah, Microsoft was looking at that. That's they sold this game for like $30, right? Or something. That is money they otherwise would not have made on a game that was not gonna sell an Xbox to anyone, probably, or a PC, or like they got all the juice out of it on their own platform. So then they were like, why are we not doing it with more? And here people are basically saying, no way Fable goes to PlayStation 5. That would be devastating for their brand. Like, actually would put them in the dirt. Of course, that's a bit too much. The game was monstrously expensive. It might not be day one, but it will come with the current plan in place. So yeah, Fable coming to PS5. Get hyped, get hyped. I'm excited for that. Like, I get it if you bought an Xbox as your sort of preferred platform. You were like choosing between an Xbox and a PlayStation at the launch in 2020. And we're looking at the lineup on Xbox and PlayStation. And we're like, I want to play these games, so I'm going with Xbox. I love Bethesda, so I'm going with Xbox because those games will now be exclusive, as they were saying back then. To then figure out later on that it was not going to be the case. Like, if we look at their announced list here, we of course see Doom was announced for PS5 day one. Like, that's another like sort of hint at that they always wanted to do that. They probably looked at the numbers and were like, okay, Doom sold like 50%, Doom Eternal sold 50% on PS5. Yeah, we need to bring the sequel there too. So it's kind of an interesting situation. And also looking at, for example, Indiana Jones, that of course just came out. I still need to play it. I'm hearing amazing things about it, but it's not great. The max concurrent here, 12,000. Obviously, it's on Game Pass on PC and on Xbox. Like, I don't want to say the game is not popular. If we go to the most played right now, we do see, of course, you got the usual suspects. Rainbow Six Siege doing really well at number 5, and then we have like Indiana Jones at number 7. Like, that's great. So a lot of people are playing it through Game Pass, but it's just not selling. They're not making a lot of like $70 pups on it. So yeah, it makes sense that they want to kind of bring that over to PlayStation, because they told their audience on Xbox to basically be like, you just need a Game Pass subscription for most of the games, and then you don't have to buy another game anymore. It's like getting like a Netflix subscription and then still having to buy a TV show that you would like to see on demand, or like a movie. No, you bought Netflix because you then have this huge catalog of things. So you're always going to Netflix first to see if that is on the service. And that's kind of what Xbox, like they said that basically to their fans as well, that is how things should be moving forward. And obviously, if we go here, I think some people were saying, I'm not sure if that was here, but basically people were asking, yo, what about Halo? What about Gears? Well, remember one thing with Halo. they like moved to Unreal Engine 5. They of course did that whole video, and Digital Foundry was already like, probably one of the main reasons for that is to port it to PS5. Like there are rumors that they're remaking the first game in UE5, and yeah, having that like on UE5 means that it can easily run on PS5. So that was likely one of the main reasons that they did not say in the video, but that was one of the reasons why they're probably switching Halo to Unreal Engine 5. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like, if you look at the first party Xbox games here, if you have a PS5, then you can like put Indiana Jones here too. Then you can probably put Starfield here too. That I think is gonna probably come to PlayStation next year. And the biggest reason, obviously, why they should not do this is because it's gonna hurt their hardware sales, right? But what we have been continuously seeing, and this is not the best example, but it shows you that it just doesn't matter for them. They're so far behind. The month that they had, like, this is the October like sales data in the US. This is the month that they had Call of Duty on Game Pass for them. And there were months like that Starfield came out as well, where still the console sold less than the year prior. Here, the month that they had Call of Duty on Game Pass, which would be like a huge boon, like, hey, if you are going to get a new console, you should get an Xbox, because then you can get Call of Duty on Game Pass forever. Series X had like an 18% decrease in sales over the year before. When you have a huge thing like that, I want to look at that Starfield news as well. So that was like September 2023, right? I hope we can like. Hopefully we can like look at it here. I think that's more like a comparison between the two. Xbox hardware sales were down 54%. So this is in September, right? Oh, this is in 2024. I should have probably like looked at that beforehand. But my point is, these exclusives for them are just not selling anymore. They're not bringing in new people to Xbox. Obviously, you could argue that it's like the long game and not the short game. Like, not like a few exclusives should not really help. That is how it worked previously. When you would launch a like huge exclusive, your console sales would go up. But yeah, it's just times are different right now. People have their digital library already. They know where their friends are playing, even though you of course have crossplay, but not every game has that. So yeah, it's an interesting situation, of course. And basically what Xbox is seeing is we're not selling a lot on our own platform because we like said to everyone, just use Game Pass. And we also are still making hundreds of millions. Like, these games cost hundreds of millions of dollars. And if we do put them on PlayStation, we get a few million sales. So it's not helping our Xbox hardware business, but we are making way more money by putting it on other platforms. So that's kind of what they're gonna do. So it is kind of crazy seeing this rumor, but if you like kind of think about it, it makes a lot of sense. And personally, I think that's good news. Because then more people get to play those games. I also want the PlayStation games to be everywhere. Like, that would be great. Like, launch them day one on PC. Like, I get why they're not doing it on Xbox, because for Sony, the PlayStation is their core business. For Xbox, they already had Minecraft that was everywhere. Like, they already have Windows, PC. So it already made sense for them to be everywhere. While for PlayStation, it still makes sense to have this one platform that you want to push. But also over there, they're of course launching these games on PC way sooner and sooner. Xbox branded gaming PC handheld is their only path forward. Yeah, I mean their only path forward is just to make a ton of money from games, like from software. And yeah, they can still do hardware. And I have an ROG Ally, and that already feels like an Xbox handheld. Like, I'm playing Xbox games on that I otherwise would not have played. So yeah, I do agree, like having a dedicated Xbox handheld, which they said they were working on, is very exciting. Microsoft will cut off Xbox. I don't think they will. They spent like $69 billion on Activision Blizzard. They're not doing it. It's game sales that make profit. They lose money on hardware anyway. I mean, I do like, but you have to remember as well that obviously, I still think they should not underestimate the value of having people buy an Xbox, because those people are they are in your ecosystem and way more likely to get Game Pass. If you have a person on PC who can be distracted by Steam and by a ton of other services and stuff, and like free-to-play games and something that are not on Xbox, then it's way harder to convince them, yo, get a Game Pass subscription. If you have more Xboxes in more homes, those people constantly get the Xbox ad, right? Or the Game Pass ad. For all their big games, they're like, yo, this game is now on Game Pass, and everyone who opens their Xbox will see that. So you have way more valuable consumers on your own platform, and they are kind of losing that, but it feels like they kind of think that it's a losing game. That they could like try it once again. Because I do think it's kind of like unfair in a way to already throw in the towel right now, when they basically did not have any substantial exclusives when they were trying the exclusive thing. Only Forza Horizon and Halo Infinite maybe, but of course Halo Infinite did not do amazingly well. Forza did do well, but that's still a racing game, so you only get like a certain part of the audience. So now when they're finally launching an Indiana Jones, and Avowed is looking very promising too, Fable I hope is gonna be great. Like when their wheels are finally turning, they kind of throw in the towel. They're like, yeah, okay, but even if those games are gonna be amazing, people will not buy an Xbox. I think Starfield was probably their moment where they were like, if this is not gonna work, nothing will. And yeah, that just did not move the needle in terms of Xbox console sales. When Game Pass was $1 a month, that screwed them a lot. I mean, I don't know. That was like only like the first, like a sort of get people addicted, and then hopefully they forget about it and never unsubscribe. Like you always have to be aggressive like that. Get people in the door, and then hopefully they forget about it or just stick around. But yeah, the next few years for Xbox are gonna be exciting, and I think people on PlayStation will only win because you get way more games. And I still think the argument that like, what if you like kind of look at this? And you're like, I want to, like, what if you're on PlayStation, right? And you're like, okay, I want to play Avowed, I want to play South of Midnight, I want to play Doom, and I want to play Fable. If these games come to PS5. Then you're already looking at $200 or more, like $300. At that point, you can maybe better buy an Xbox and get Game Pass the months these games come out. Outer Worlds 2 is not even on here. There might have more games. So I think that is actually the best sort of thing they got going for them. If they, at a regular pace, can launch these very big games, and people on PlayStation find themselves like buying these games every time, then they might do the math and be like, but why? Why would I not just get an Xbox with Game Pass? I think that's kind of their maybe saving grace here, which could turn this whole, yo, we're making the Xbox platform less appealing because there are no exclusive games anymore, into a positive thing, because it's still cheaper to play them on Xbox. Only though, I have to say, only though if you get the subscription when the game comes out and then immediately unsubscribe and finish the game in that subscription window. Otherwise, you're still looking at like more than $200 a year to get Game Pass Ultimate. Right? Or it's like $20 a month now, probably less for like a yearly thing. It still adds up if you then also buy the Xbox. So it is interesting for sure. How much was the activation deal that was their downfall? Yeah, if a game is on PS5 or Game Pass, I play it on Xbox Series S. Yeah, I get it, Sailor. Like, if you get the option. And I think maybe more people will, in the end, get that option. Go for that option. Pilo Wheat is asking if I know when the parkour and exploration articles are dropping for Shadows. No, but it feels. I thought they were going to be weekly, but they're not. So it might even be like next year when we see them. I will of course keep you posted here. Oh. If this Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to another topic. Let me know what you want. Do you want the GTA 6 or 2025 games? I do think having 2025 games first and then GTA 6 makes the most sense, because then we're kind of in chronological order. But I'm open to do whatever. I think Shadows gets delayed again. No, Melissa, for sure. They will not delay it. They won't delay it. Max is asking, so no Hogwarts Legacy director's cut. I mean, it is going to happen. It's just wild that they did not announce it yet. Seems like they're still. Yeah, it's further away than we think, which is crazy, because we know they're working on the sequel as well. Maybe they turned the director's cut into the sequel to get that out sooner. That would actually not be a bad idea. I think at one point you are waiting too long for DLC. I mean, people would still be down for it, but I almost would argue that it might be smarter for them to put that in the new game. Although, of course, the next game is gonna be like a similar setting, it seems, compared to the Harry Potter show. So yeah, then it obviously does not really work. I just don't see them doing a lot of enough marketing for Shadows. I mean, we have to remember that game marketing these days is just different. People are way more focused on what's in front of them this week or next week, because there's so much entertainment, like launching on like TV shows, music, etc., that it just less and less makes sense to try and hype people, spend marketing budget, to get people excited for something that is months away, because they will just forget about it or don't care, because they're like, that's too far from me. So if they mid-January suddenly start talking again, and then from that point they won't shut up till February 14th when the game comes out, that's still fine. Like, I don't think we should worry about it at all. Okay. Are we ready? I'm gonna go for the 2025 games. Let's see what the plan was again. Yeah, Let's go. I think like 2025 is probably going to be the biggest gaming year in at least a long time. It might be the biggest, depending on if everything that we know about, of course, hits. I already showed you this, and maybe you've seen it before. This like tweet from, let's see, it was October 2024. It already had many games that we knew about. Obviously, Kingdom Come is now earlier. Shadows is already here. We know Avowed has like early access for early. Like February is gonna be a bloodbath. We all know that. And we even got like some more things in March, and then things that like Dune Awakening, like things that are still planned for that first half that we just don't really know about. And then a lot of games that do not even have release dates. And the year would have already been crazy with just these games. And of course, we know the next gen Nintendo console is happening too. And if the Switch 2 was any indication, or like the Switch first year, I should say, is any indication, it means that they will launch probably a new game every month. That's what they did with the Switch launch lineup. And that, of course, caused them to have many people get a Switch day one. And then they could build from there. So I'm sure they're going to do that, like a new Mario Kart, 3D Mario, etc., etc. Then we had the Game Awards, where we had even more 2025 games. The big one, of course, Outer Worlds, or actually it's not the biggest one, but it's like one of the big ones that we heard about for a long time. But now we learned that Obsidian is able to make 2 big games. Obviously, they're not like the size of a massive RPG. They're smaller, but still they have like tens of hours of content, obviously. And it's coming 2025, so still crazy that they're launching Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 in the same year. The biggest surprise, of course, at the Game Awards was, we're not working on an Elden Ring sequel, but a director working on Elden Ring had this idea for a multiplayer spin-off, so we're doing that, and it's launching in 2025. So it's 1-player or 3-player co-op. It's mostly focused on being co-op. It has like characters pre-made. They're basically heroes, so you're not making your own character. And they all have their own special abilities like this. I just love the fact that they are way more focused on... Like, I'm getting more of like the Sekiro freedom in movement that I kind of missed in the Dark Souls and especially Elden Ring. Like, having finally some parkour like this, it's just exciting to me. Like, I want that. I want more freedom, and having more control over my character is great. So I'm looking forward to this. Like, it's way more action focused. You're in this match. It should be like, I think 45 minutes for a match or something. And then you try to beat these bosses, of course, together or alone. Gear up, and then level up your character and do it all over again and fight the different bosses. So this is gonna be huge. Like, Elden Ring sold 25 million copies. The DLC sold a lot as well. And yeah, there was already no room for some of the games. And now one of the biggest new franchises of the last decade is like, we're back. We're taking more of the money that people will be spending in 1 year. I also think this game should not be underestimated. This, of course, Split Fiction, the new game from It Takes Two, launching March 6th, 2025. And you're like, okay, why should we not underestimate this? Well, it's because It Takes Two sold a staggering 20 million copies. I got the article right here. That is insane. And even, I sometimes look at like other, and this is like in October 2024. Sometimes I look at like sales charts and stuff, and then you still see It Takes Two just on number 10. Like, it's selling like passively. It's insane. So I don't know if Split Fiction, it looks, I think, even better than It Takes Two. Of course, they're going for the whole fantasy and sci-fi mix up. They will take a lot of the learnings. It has a lot of different gameplay elements. Like, I think this could be even better than It Takes Two. And obviously, when they get the word out that, the people from It Takes Two are making another game that is basically like it, I think people will jump on it. So that's another enormous game that we did not know about that is launching in March 2025. I'm looking forward to it. We now also learned that Crimson Desert. Now, we already kind of thought that this game, of course, if you don't know what this is, I don't know why, but you probably do know this, right? It's the huge open world game from the Black Desert Online people. And this was first an MMO, but then they were like, we are actually making a game that people that don't want to play multiplayer would like to play. Like an open world action adventure game. And I'm like, yes, please, thank you. So it looks amazing. And the scale of this game, like flying on the dragon here, that's insane. It looks great. So yeah, that's late 2025. I really thought this was going to be like April. But yeah, that's another big 2025 game. Then PlayStation was like, yeah, we're gonna like publish this video. Now, it includes a lot of games that you already kind of knew were gonna come. Like Ghost of Yotei, obviously. Death Stranding 2, we knew like Little Nightmares 3, Assassin's Creed Shadows, of course, delayed Monster Hunter, Like a Dragon. So this is all first half. I think Yotei might be like summer 2025. But yeah, that's a lot. But in this trailer, they also have some other games that you might have forgotten about. So we knew about Dragon Age or Dynasty Warriors Origins. Sid Meier's, we know about Civilization, Baby Steps, which is like another game that will probably take over YouTube Let's Play in a way. The Midnight Walk. And then we have Where Winds Meet. And I really think this is going to be a huge game. This is like an open world, kind of Ghost of Tsushima style game. They took a lot of inspiration from that, but in the Chinese, with the Chinese setting. And it's free to play. At least that is what it, like, I think is in China. So you would think that it's probably going to be here too. So that's another game that we can add to the 2025 list. We finally got like Borderlands 4 info. And yes, I want to know from you as well in the comments in the chat. What did you think of this trailer? It looks like more Borderlands, but we just should not underestimate Borderlands. Because I'm gonna like Borderlands. And I'm mostly, of course, I think we can all kind of know, okay, this is probably gonna be an 8, right? This game is gonna be great. I'm totally thinking a lot of games are going to be great, but I also want to kind of focus on the impact that it will have, because this is a game like Borderlands 3. Let's see. I mean, it sold well beyond the management expectations. It now sold over 16 million units in November 2022. 16 million, Borderlands 3. This game is gonna be enormous. This is the new villain that they have here. They played safe with Unreal Engine 4. Yeah, that's right. It would have been cool if they would go to Unreal Engine 5. We would not have been like, whoa, this looks like a very big Borderlands 3 DLC. Obviously, that's not like giving it enough credit, but you could. The graphics are the same. Like, you could totally argue that the Borderlands 3 on PS5 and series look like this as well. Now, obviously, I do like the sort of. It does seem that the world has a bit more detail to it. I love what we're kind of seeing here. So, still though, if you asked a random person, is this Borderlands 3, and they did not know Borderlands 4 was a thing, they would be like, yeah, I totally think it is. But yeah, that's another big 2025 game. Mafia, of course, coming as well in summer 2025. It's going to be a smaller game though, but yeah, we know Mafia is a huge franchise too. Even Mafia 3, that did not sell very well, sold 7 million units. It was the fastest selling game ever for 2K, but then it of course nosedived because it wasn't really that great. I think a lot of people are gonna be excited about this. The trailer is now at 500,000, and that's on the official Mafia channel. I think it has probably more on other channels. Like another big game, and that's. I'm excited for it. I think it could be awesome. Although I think you're probably gonna finish this in a weekend, but hey, it's gonna be great. Then we got like a Dying Light spin-off. Like amount of views this has, so 1.1 million for a Dying Light spin-off that was like a DLC, so basically the Assassin's Creed Mirage of the Dying Light universe. Having that much like views shows you that even though Dying Light 2 was kind of a letdown for some people, the series is still huge. So getting another one of these games is gonna be insane. And I'm looking forward to it. I think the new setting looks awesome, and like going into the forest now instead of the only urban environment that we kind of had in Dying Light 2. Way more focused on ranged weapons. Obviously the parkour still looks great, even though a lot of the animations are very much the same. But yeah, I think this is gonna be great as well. And then we also have this. Like, there are going to be many games that were not even on your radar, but that could end up being pretty good. I've not watched this trailer yet for the first Berserker, but it's like a dungeon fighter. So that's like a huge game, and they have like characters, and this is, I think, based on one of these characters. It's like an action-adventure game. This is more like a CGI trailer, though. But yeah, that's also dropping March 2025. That's crazy. Another one. Rematch. Oh, we also did not know about this. It's from the Sifu makers. Totally not the game. I loved Galactic Football back in the day. Let me know if you remember that. But like having this, come out. This could be huge. This could be pretty big if it's like plays as well as Sifu, and yeah, that's another like nice surprise for 2025. And I mean, I can keep going. Like, I got like a side-scrolling old school Ninja Gaiden. Of course, this is not gonna be huge, but it's like it shows you just like with the Game Awards that there were like even at the end of 2024, we're still getting a lot of new reveals, obviously, for 2025. If you go back a year and think about what we knew about 2024 around this time, so in December 2023, we did not know about many games that have come out since. Dragon Age, Assassin's Creed Red was kind of a thing, but we did not know it was called Shadows. So, I mean, there are way more games that I'm kind of blanking on right now, but it just shows you that even though it is already looking insanely packed, there are going to be way more games announced. But, of course, the big one is going to be GTA 6 and what that game will do. Because that's what I thought was pretty interesting overall, where you see, like, they won't go as far. Like, they only can say summer. Because if your game is coming out later than summer, then, you obviously don't want to announce that, because only Crimson Desert is not afraid of GTA 6. But yeah, a lot of games are gonna be in that August-September window, because then they know, okay, we're before GTA 6. If you're after that, then yeah, you're kind of hesitant on when you're gonna announce it. I do think Borderlands might be earlier than summer. That would be kind of crazy, because they are doing like a gameplay reveal event, I think, in early 2025, and usually they do that like a few months before launch. And of course 2K, they're the parent company of Rockstar. Like, they know what the release window, at least internally, for GTA 6 is going to be. So when they announce a release date, they can like be safe, but all the other games cannot be. So it's I just wanted to like give you this quick rundown. Of course, GTA 6 could be delayed. There will be a video on the channel talking a bit more about that, but it is kind of wild that we have another year where we have this many like crazy titles coming, and we don't even know all of them. We have like Horizon Online that might still drop. Of course, we have like there might be some PlayStation games. Like last year, we did not know about Astrobot, Lego Horizon, Concord. We did know about it, but we did not know it was going to launch in 2025. Like Marathon might launch in 2025 from Sony. The Bluepoint's new IP might launch. Microsoft might have some surprises, even though they already have a lot of games announced for 2025. So it's gonna be wild. Let me know which game you're looking forward to the most, and how you're gonna make make sure you have the time and money to play these games. But the truth of the matter is, it's gonna be a bloodbath. Like, that's why I wanted to showcase that Borderlands sells 16 million. It Takes Two sold 20 million. Like, those are juggernauts that might not perform as well this year because there's so much out there. Or that will suck a lot of the air out of the room, so there's not a lot left for other people. And that's what we kind of saw this year. The big AAA titles that, like a Star Wars Outlaws, that on paper you would think, oh, that's going to be a hit, did not do well because, hey, there's a new kid on the block called Black Myth Wukong that people liked more. And a lot of other, like the Chinese, the Asian developers have been like kind of rocking 2024, and we, like, all the games I've listed here, they're all from the traditional Western developers mostly. And if like a Where Winds Meet is gonna be huge, it could totally be. That means that less people are gonna buy the other games. So I wish all the developers and publishers the best. At least we, as like gamers, have a lot of choice and can kind of pick and choose. We only don't have a lot of time and money to play everything. So yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Battlefield and Far Cry, says Max. Yeah, that's another one. Like, I think there's gonna be a new Far Cry, but it might be like early 2026, kind of like that Far Cry 5 spot. But we will see it announced. I think Battlefield is gonna be later because they're gonna do that big, they're gonna do their big like testing, right? And like the test event, I think in the early parts of the year. I think that game is still further away, and they need to get it right. And I think launching that around GTA 6 is not smart. Like, they need to get Battlefield on the map again. Tales of Graces, F in January, Like a Dragon in February, Age of Shadows in March. I mean, Age of Shadows is even in February. It's like a week before Like a Dragon. Or is it like the way you're gonna play it? So you're gonna play Shadows in March. 2K shows us a hint with Mafia. GTA 6 will not come before that. I mean, they already said GTA 6 is going to be at the end of the year. So, yeah, we know it's going to be after summer. I do think, like, if Borderlands is, like, early October, I think that does show you that, hey, GTA is not coming early October. But, yeah, I think Borderlands might be earlier than that. It has been in development for a long time. 2019 is when 3 came out. Yeah, Sailor, I expect more Asian games to be sleeper hits in 2025 as Western AAA continues to fall. I mean, sleeper hits, of course, mean that nobody is like paying attention to them. I think what is usually happening is that nobody's paying attention to them before they come out, and then when they come out, they take the world by storm. So yeah. There's not supposed to be a Ghost Recon in 2025. I know it's a rumor. Yeah, Michael, that's another big game from Ubisoft that they will likely put out. New Tomb Raider, Wonder Woman. I mean, those games seem to be 2026, and I hope it. Like, I do think at one point the developers have to be like, it's enough. We're gonna like this year was like pretty light. And then next year, everyone is gonna like fight to the death, and then only a few will like be successful. I don't think that's smart. So, yeah, release some games in 2026. Things that we just don't know a lot about, like Tomb Raider and Wonder Woman. Like, if they were on track for 2025, I would just say, look, push them. Bro, discuss Witcher 4, please. I mean, we can talk about it, but it's still far away. I wanted to talk about the 2025 games, of course, here. When do you think Fable releases? Alessandra, I think Fable launches like in 2026, personally. I think they're going to delay it. Like maybe in February or something, like the Avowed window. That is also a game that I think needs all the time it can get. And if the end of... Like, I think Doom might be like a holiday 2025 game. And I think that can stand its own against GTA. Because it's Doom. It's completely different. People know what to expect there. While I think Fable needs more room to breathe. Even though that's big, of course, as well. But it's more big in our bubble, right? So, I think it's gonna be delayed. I think that would be... I always thought 2025 was gonna be ambitious for the amount of like we've seen more of Doom than like gameplay than Fable. Yeah, Fable is like planned for holiday 2025, but I don't think it's gonna make it. Screaming Raven, by the way, thank you for your content on YouTube. I follow you since a few years. Let's hope Bethesda fix finally for well, thanks, Screaming Raven, appreciate you. And you're right, yeah, the Wonder Woman were like Monolith was good. We have to wait and see. It's just it's a red flag that after so many years, it still feels like Wonder Woman is far away. I hope Ubisoft gives us a surprise drop in January with Shadows. I mean, they have, of course. They're going to be big plans for sure. Okay, let's see. I got one more fun topic that I want to go over, so let's do that. It's kind of in the same vein, but focused on GTA. Repeating some things, but I think still it's going to be interesting. And I want to let you, ask you if you think there's still going to be a trailer this year. Will we still see a GTA 6 trailer in 2025? Well, time is running out. I have an idea, but let's talk about that in a moment. We do have some updates on actually the impact of this game. We talked about it before, but I wanted to touch on it more because I think it's just fascinating. Game publishers are too scared to reveal release dates because of GTA 6, according to a report. So basically, Jason Schreier from Bloomberg is like, I talked to publishers and they're gonna wait till the very last moment to announce their end of 2025 date. Of course, we know GTA 6 is slated for the fall or kind of the end, so basically October, November of 2025, and you don't want to launch your game around that time because, yeah, everyone is focused on GTA 6, obviously. So yeah, that is of course going to be very, very interesting what the thing is here, and we kind of already saw that with the Game Awards. This is as far as publishers want to go. Summer 2025, Mafia and Dying Light. So if your game is not in the summer, then you will basically not announce it yet. If it's like after the summer, so after September, you're gonna be like, we're just saying 2025 because, yeah, GTA 6 might come and eat our lunch. So we now have like Jason Schreier actually saying that GTA 6 might be delayed. And I talked about it before, like it's not uncommon, right? I think looking at these delays, like remember that these are delays after the release date was already announced. For GTA 6, we only know 2025. So if they might have already delayed it without us knowing, it might have been, yo, we were planning it in February, but now it's October. Yeah, they said 2025, so for us, publicly, it's not a delay. But I think the Red Dead Redemption situation was the most interesting thing, where they did say, of course, the fall of 2017, then spring 2018, and then, like, of course, it ended up being October 2018. So it is like, especially because these games are way harder to make, and Red Dead Redemption 2 is like the most like advanced game, of course, they made, the most recent one they put out. So it's totally not out of the realm of possibility that GTA 6 is delayed, and with them not dropping a trailer this year anymore, because again, maybe by the time this video comes out, I hope not, there has already been a trailer, but time is running out. We had like kind of rumors here. Rockstar updated their GTA 6 YouTube playlist, but it was like not real. This is false. YouTube embedded a playlist. Like, basically people are, of course, looking for signs that we still get a look at the game, because it has been more than a year now, which is crazy. It feels not as long ago, but it is. So I overall think it's kind of interesting to look at that, and also to, like, times have just changed, and I've said it before, but I think if they go quiet and then 1 month before October, when they say, like, what if the game like launches at the end of October, and then 1 month before that they're dropping trailer 2, and then they start the marketing cycle, I don't think that impacts the sales at all. Maybe people will get angry, but just in our bubble, right? So I don't think it's gonna matter that much. Maybe that's the plan. Like, that's just how game marketing works these days. It's kind of a waste of money. I mean, putting a trailer on YouTube, obviously, it doesn't cost them a lot of money, and they're probably making that back because the trailer gets viewed 200 million times. But yeah, they don't have to rush anything, and that's kind of how, yeah, games are now announced and then released like a few months later. We also have this article here: GTA 6 the most expensive game in history. Sure, could be. Like, we know, of course, that they have been working on it for a long time. They really started working on it, though, after Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, so in 2018. So they've been working on it for more than 6 years, which kind of crazy. And yeah, then you do spend a lot of money, because they know. Like, they know they're gonna make that money back. So this is like an estimate from Insider Gaming. They're like, okay, GTA 5 cost them 250 million, which for that time, 2013, was insane. Like, now we have Spider-Man 3 Spider-Man 2 costing 300 million. And that is kind of one of the, like, only, I mean, there have been like Destiny, and if you like get the marketing but everything combined, there are, of course, way more games that cost way more than 250, or than GTA 5. Even Concord seemingly cost more money, which is crazy. But yeah, that was like more than 10 years ago. Things have changed, and their estimate being like 1-2 billion. That's like, I don't know how you get that. That's like, it's probably gonna be way more. So I don't know, man. That's crazy. But I totally think it's gonna, like, 1 billion sounds right. But the thing is, if we look here, GTA 5 in 2013 had already $1 billion in revenue in 3 days. Gaming in 2013 was not as big as it is right now. 200 million views on that trailer. It's insane. Even if like 10% buys at day one, you already have more than, like, it's gonna make its money back in day one. So yeah, they can make this the most expensive game ever, because it won't matter. It will not matter. But yeah, like, money doesn't buy a bug-free game, so they still need the time, obviously, to make it right. And that's what they're gonna do. So I personally am leaning to, with there not being probably a trailer this year, because let's be honest, I don't think they're gonna do it anymore. Then it would really have to be this week. Like, we're now December 16th when I'm recording this. Has to be this week. Unless they want to, like, have a cool Christmas present, but then a lot of people will be angry, and you don't want to have your people working on Christmas Day to drop a trailer for this. Would be fun to go out with a bang this year, but usually the week before Christmas, people just hang in their hat, they go back to work, to their family, and call it a year, and come back next year. And I really don't know why they would. Like, there's no reason to start promoting this game now. We only just won it. So yeah, we have when is GTA 6 come out, release date tracker. Coming out fall 2025 per the most recent documentation. The window is accurate November 2024, and it means GTA 6 will likely be released in October 2025. If they, like, because they're saying, like, most GTA games came out in October, only GTA 5 and GTA 4 did not. So, like, the most recent games. Okay, that guy here. Only 2 games deviated from that GTA 5 and GTA 4. I mean, it's different. Times have changed. So, basically, my point with all these random articles that are talking about this game is people are just hungry for more. But Rockstar doesn't need to do anything. Publishers are already shitting the bed. They're already like, we got Far Cry 7, or we got like Doom, like as a Microsoft, or Fable. Sony has Ghost of Yotei maybe around that window. Like, they want to make sure that that game gets the time to shine. But 3 weeks before and 3 weeks after GTA 6 is dead sentence. I mean, even like after GTA 6, they will have GTA Online. So you don't want to be around that too. Now, obviously, you should still launch your game. Like, you should not be that scared. But it is smart to be like a few weeks. And again, Jason Schreier's talked to publishers and they're like, we're scared. We're waiting. So it's gonna be a very it's not gonna be fun next year. We're going to be in August maybe with games that should still launch in 2025 with no date. Because GTA 6 has not announced their date yet. If they sell 200 million copies at $80, it's 16 billion. I mean, they're not gonna sell 200 million. I mean, to be fair, they are maybe at one point are going to sell 200 million because GTA 5 sold 200 now. Yeah, as of May this year, the GTA 5 sold 200 million copies, but that was obviously also at a discount, etc., etc. They will find a way to release Horizon 3 on GTA 6 release day. I mean, Horizon Online is coming next year probably. So, yeah, it's still possible. Yeah, I pray they get the online mode set up right. Red Dead Online could have been just as big as GTA Online, but they have asked it, yeah. That could have been huge. I think the Red Dead Online for the first game was amazing. Yor, have you seen the anime GTA game called Ananta yet? Hope I pronounced it yet. Yeah, I saw it. That looks pretty good. I want to like keep an eye out for that, but it's another free-to-play gacha game probably, right? Yeah, of course, but the numbers are insane. Yeah, no, I'm like, it's gonna do insane sprite, but of course not. Like, a lot of people watch the trailer 2 times or 3 times, 5 times. The 200 million is not like a single person. A movie that makes $1 billion is a smash, yeah. And GTA 6 will make a few billion probably in a few days. Thanks, Gladiatress. I liked your reaction video on The Witcher 4. Totally check if you haven't already on the main channel. Maybe Brock can share it. Our Witcher 4 breakdown of the trailer. Totally watch that for more on that. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. I had a great time, for sure. Again, it's just an evolving thing. We just started with these streams. Feedback is more than welcome. I took more time right now to focus on the chat as well, in between the subjects, and of course at the start, because that's obviously part of the stream as well, to discuss things with you. So, like, we're still fine-tuning everything, but yeah, I want to like do this every Monday. So, turn on the webcam, talk gaming news with you, and have this be a returning thing on this channel. So, thanks for joining as always. I had a great time. And, yeah, these videos will be going up on the Raptor React channel if you missed some subjects that we talked about. And, of course, we will have more reaction-style content there. Check that out. Of course, on the main channel, the videos will keep going as well. We have one more week where the full team will be working. And then I will still be doing some things here and there in between Christmas and New Year's. I will probably go off the first... I mean, I will still do the streams, but the first week of January, probably take it slow. And then January, it's going to be the craziest January ever with Assassin's Creed Shadows. So, yeah, normally January is like, what are we going to do? And now it's like, there's not enough days. So, and then of course, finally Shadows in February. It's been crazy because We had a big Assassin's Creed game that also had like a lot of post-launch content. For like after like Valhalla, of course, we have not had that for more than 2 years. It will always be 3 years when Shadows comes out. So it's gonna be kind of crazy. Appreciate you, the real DLS. I appreciate you being here. So again, every Monday, same time, I will be here. That's the plan. And see you there. Of course, on Wednesday, I will be talking with Fragnard about Assassin's Creed stuff. So yeah, check that out on the JorRaptor channel. And yeah, more content coming your way. Thanks as always. And speak to you guys